Side note, when I went to study abroad in England, my mom was like, find Prince Harry, he likes black women. I was like,
what could have been, but then you would have been attacked.
I would have been done.
Hello, welcome back everybody to Rush Hour to Infinity. I made a mistake. Rush Hour to Infinity. Yay! Pew pew pew.
Pew pew pew.
Fire. I am Linda and
I'm Victoria.
And today we're gonna be discussing Oprah's interview with Meghan and Harry.
Hell yeah.
Are they still Duchess and Duke? No titles at all?
No titles, no security. It's wild.
Yeah.
Unprecedented.
Oh my god. Yeah. So we're gonna go through our first impressions and then some points that we want to share.
Bring up and discuss and just talk about everything that we thought about the interview.
Did you think she was well received in the beginning?
Yes, far better than I expected.
So what was your expectations like prior?
Okay, so you and I both sent each other a bunch of like reaction videos from Diet Prada on Instagram.
Yeah.
And I don't know, my expectation was like this was going to be like a huge expose, like there was going to be some heat, you know. I mean, I didn't expect any like Jerry Springer shit, but I thought that there was going to be some like name dropping.
You're not the father, Harry.
Tables turned up, you know, like, I mean, that's not what I was expecting. But when they showed like that one clip that spiraled all over Instagram and YouTube about like Oprah saying what about like talking about the baby skin color, I thought it was going to go kind of like on that trajectory of like a lot of the things that Meghan dealt with that were just so absurd. Well, that was my expectation beforehand. Like I was expecting some heat to drop.
Like more fire, kind of. Okay.
Yes. I mean, I didn't want her to have like suffered, but I thought like, you know what I mean? Like that's not what I wanted, but they made it seem like, you know, she went through some shit. Like she suffered. I mean, she suffered.
She did.
She
but
suffered.
you were like expecting some like name drops or like something a bit more.
Something. I mean, I guess that's like our sensationalization, but like, what were your expectations?
I was just honestly looking forward to hearing her and Harry speak, and that's it. Like, but there were some ridiculous moments. I think, yeah, like the really ridiculous ones was like already like snippets and out there.
Yeah.
Right now,
there are several conversations.
there's a conversation with you,
with Harry,
about how dark your baby is going to be.
Yeah, because we haven't heard her speak like to the public directly because she like deleted all her socials and like I guess that was like restricted, right? Like
yeah. Because they said they took her passport and all that stuff too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then so that's it.
So like you didn't have too many expectations. You just wanted to hear like them speak.
I just wanted to hear them speak like real people because you always see them on the online being so cute or like in the you know, what is it, the pictures of their tours and stuff like that. They were so cute and they actually are really cute.
I know.
So
I love them.
So yeah, that was what I was looking forward to, just hearing them speak.
What were your thoughts after the interview?
Wait, you go.
Okay. So when I watch an interview or anything, because I'm, you know, so up on like YouTube sleuthing, I kind of take everything with like, not a grain of salt, but I kind of like try to break down and understand like the bigger context of what was happening. And it just felt like, obviously you're never prepared for racism in the world, but I felt like Meghan, I don't know, like, what did you expect type of thing? I'm not saying that she should have expected racism. I'm just surprised that she's making such a bigger deal of it. I don't know how to describe it. It's more like
you think that like that the way that she was surprised, you thought that was like, you should have known to expect this kind of get out situation.
Yeah, it's like like there's a certain level of awareness, self-awareness that you have when you're a Black person. You know what I mean? And especially going into like a world where like all they're known for is colonialism. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh, no. 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 No, 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 no.
so that was my impression. And I want to like say, like, no one should have to expect racism. You know what I mean? That's like the world shouldn't be like where you go out and just like know that you're gonna have some shit to deal with during the day. But when you're putting yourself in an institution like that, I mean, she's an actress, so I'm sure she's dealt with that kind of stuff before. You know what I mean? So like, I didn't understand. I think she kept saying something about like the security. You know, like she didn't have the security, and I was just like,
but the protection.
Yeah.
You
know what I mean? I think that's like her biggest problem. You know,
what I got out of it in the end was that like the royal family is run like a business, and it's very much managed by the institution. And it's very much separate. And it seems like at the end when Harry emphasized that like he felt trapped, or like being trapped without knowing being trapped, or like that his family members are still in that kind of mentality, and also I guess their life. I thought that was like really interesting, because it is very powerful people that run the show, perhaps, you know, and how these people have associations with the press and their invisible contract. And that for me was like a really big like
it was weird.
It was weird. And the fact that passive aggressive racism, I guess, in the UK came out this horrendously, like for Meghan. I think even in the beginning in the tabloids, like they weren't that happy that like Harry was dating Meghan, like the American actress, divorcee, Black. But then after the wedding, like you were saying, like all hell broke loose, and that like level of racism just like increased a million times, because over Canada, like, or in the States, I think they were just like stuck on the idea of like, oh, marrying a prince, you know, you're an American actress, you need a prince.
I think the thing is, it's like in the United States, Meghan is so fair and she's mixed, so like a lot of the time people don't notice that she's Black unless she states it. But like when you go over to the UK, it's not the same sort of privilege. I was really surprised that like some of the headlines that they showed, you know, like her holding her baby bump, or like the avocado thing, how it's like
linked to deforestation. Like,
like the hell, you know what I mean? Like they went far.
And they really
demonize
like piled
everything.
They piled on. Like that was crazy for me. That was like the crazy part, when she was saying also like she reached out obviously countless times to like their comms team of the royal palace, and they didn't want to admit the truth, or like they didn't want to put out anything to like correct her image.
Not at all. And I think that was part of like the protection she didn't have. Like they kept saying like, we'll protect you, but it's just like, no. I think what she dealt with was like two-faced people. You know what I mean? Like the understanding like, okay, we're gonna take care of you, you're protected, but then when stuff starts to hit the fan, like there was nothing to back her up. And they made her look like
No, sorry, you go.
They made her look like aggressive and mean, which is what they do to Black women. It's, you know, and there's this also the fact that she's speaking out. You know, like a lot of Black people, when they deal with racist institutions, won't speak out. It's more common now, but beforehand, like what they want you to do is just to stay quiet, deal with the abuse and everything, which is what they wanted her to do, and which is why they wanted to stop that Oprah interview so much, you know? I mean, it's not like people didn't know the institutions and things were racist, but it's just like, okay, now a mixed woman is there. She dealt with it. We can't hide this. You know what I mean?
You were saying that like you felt that Oprah went like easy on her with some of the racial questions, or just questions in general?
I feel like the racial questions. I feel like because Oprah's dark skinned, so she could have been like, do you think that, you know, your skin color played a part in, you know, them accepting you at first? She's barely brown, type of thing. You know what I mean? So the fact that they even asked about the baby's skin color was just to stress her out, you know? And what I didn't understand was like, why, you know, we know the reason why they're so awful to Meghan is because she's black, or half black, or she's a black woman. But I don't understand why the interview didn't expand on that. You know, like they kind of just wanted to talk about like how the institutions are awful and how, you know, she was treated differently, but why? Because even there was even like a sentence, it was just like, do you think it had to do with the fact that you were brown? You know what I mean? And then Meghan's just like, yes, if that's what you want to get from that statement. It's just like, what?
You know, it's interesting because for me, yeah. And then in the other half of the interview, when Harry came in, Harry made it very much like, he said straight away that once he met Meghan, it was then he kind of understood what like racial bias was, and like just being with her and being exposed to just, I guess, tabloids when they're together. And he didn't know that until he had to like live with it too, you know? And so he made a point. He was saying like, it's the race thing added on top of like social media. It makes everything worse.
For this union and the specifics around her race, there was an opportunity, many opportunities, for my family to show some public support.
Meghan really didn't. Yeah, she didn't use her race thing to. For me, we were talking about this like earlier on. I feel that it was probably good for her not to do that, not to kind of like outwardly say it very explicitly and leave that kind of talk to Harry, because Harry represents more the royal family itself and like UK people, like white people. And I feel like he has a stronger, he could say, yeah, like my country's tabloids really treated my fiance and my wife like biased because she's black. I don't know how good it would, like PR wise, it would do for her if she said, I think it was because I was black that they treated me different. And then Oprah would be like,
Because I think the importance is like, when you deal with racism, you need to speak out. You know what I mean? Like, I'm dating a guy who's Filipino. Like, he backs me up when I deal with racism during the day, but it comes from me. You know what I mean? It's my experience. And I don't think that just because Harry is there, like, even though he represents the royal family, like, I feel as though Meghan should have just said, I was dealing with racism here. And this is why those things happened to me, because I'm black. Yes, I'm very fair. I'm a light-skinned woman, but my mother is black, and they're treating me this way because my mother is black. You know what I mean? Like, that's what needed to be said, because when you leave it like open-ended, you don't get, it's not to make an impact. It's just to be like, this is what I'm saying. I understand for like Harry confirmed that there was a race aspect, but it's like this not white savior complex, but this like white foundation. Like her statements only hold weight if he says it, and it's like just across the board, like not even the fact that he's like royalty or it's his family. You know what I mean? Yes, he's backing her up and making it seem like she's not crazy, but she shouldn't seem crazy because we all know racism exists. You know what I mean? So there's that.
I just think that it's because, so you think that she could have been just more direct and to the point of like her experience. Okay. For me, I think that you have a point, but at the same time, I can see why she didn't do it that way. Because like even now, like even though she never said it out loud, like if we look in the like the tabloids now, I guess, is saying like, you know, her popularity decreased, even though she like never accused them directly, you know what I mean? And it's like multiple times that she always said that like the queen was like not a racist and the queen was really nice to her. And even like Harry was saying that like she was the most welcoming in the family, and like even now they're talking the most, and that he's disappointed in his like dad and maybe his brother that didn't reach out more and didn't support more and stuff like that. And the press is like still being like, is the queen racist? It's like very much sensationalizing. So I feel like you said, like her voice still will, no matter what she does, is still gonna get lost within like
definitely
fake titles or like just articles on her gossips and stuff like that. So prior to this interview, did you care about the royal family?
No.
You're Canadian, right? You're Canadian, part of the Commonwealth.
You have Canadian dollars
in
with passport.
Oh, revoked.
I mean, I grew up in the States, so and then came to Canada for like the past 7 years and went to university there. But even when I was in university, I didn't know much about like the history of Canada and being a Commonwealth nation. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm American. We don't like the English.
Freedom, guns and eagles.
Boston Tea Party, guys.
Morning, Agnes.
Stick 'em up.
Oh, don't shoot, I'm just a messenger.
Pew, pew.
So, so you're like, nah, you didn't like care about the royal family at all. Did you like know the gossips or like how they function? Or that they went on tours around the world, kind of across the Commonwealth countries?
No, I just thought they went and like hung out and like made themselves look pretty. I didn't know they had like, it wasn't until this interview that I knew what, like I really did not care. And this is like a point where it's just like, we were almost done with talks about the royal family. Like there was never any posts on like Instagram or social media unless it was the wedding. You know what I mean? And then now it comes back because of all the race issues and all this stuff happening. It's just like, damn it, we almost got rid of like talking about the royal family and now I know everything. You know what I mean? So it's just like, now I know.
You know, the funny thing is, for me, I find it interesting because it's such a closed like gate, like you don't know their lives, and it's very much like image based, like they were saying a lot, like you would never know what's behind the picture, right? Like the perfect smiling pictures. Did I care about them? No, but I actually find this kind of conversation more interesting than celebrity culture, because it's like, because the royal family, they still don't crack, like, you know what I mean? They still have that hard image.
You never see a bad picture of any of them. It wasn't until like Princess Diana that you started seeing like them in street clothing, or just her in like street clothing and different things like that. You know, like she was like, I'm not dealing with this, guys.
So for me, it was interesting to see that aspect. And the fact that, like Harry was saying, like it's like a history repeating itself. It's like an outsider coming in and disturbing it. Not like Meghan disturbed it. Like I feel like Meghan did the most she could, like to assimilate into like whatever that they were doing. And even that they put up a point where they were saying like she actually did so well that maybe the press wanted her to trip up, so that they were like trying to make her look bad like afterwards, you know. And my expectations, well, I mean, I feel like they don't really care about Canada. They don't come to Canada that often, like but they go to like countries of like people of color, and they were saying like it could have been an opportunity for them to show what direction the
colonialism,
what maybe like do better and like, you know, progress towards like more diverse representation even in the family, but apparently not.
I mean, I guess they could have, I mean, it sounds bad, but they could have used Meghan as advantageous to them to make their image look good, like that they were not only colonialists and like only wanted money from people, you know, like, hey, you know, we're diverse too, look at this marriage. But I think they're so stuck in their, I don't even want to say privilege, but like their like bloodline type of ideology. It's just like, this isn't gonna look good for history. I don't know how to describe it. It's just like, it's almost like a white supremacy type of thing, where it's just like, even if it's advantageous for them to let a Black person in, it's much better to just keep it white, keep it right. You know what I mean? Like that type of thing.
I see. But I I honestly just don't know. Because at the same time, after the interview, I really did feel bad for. No, I don't feel bad for them, but I do feel bad for them because it's like you saw like their family dynamic from what Harry was saying was like very much formal.
My father and my brother, they are trapped. They don't get to leave. And I have huge compassion for that.
And very kind of, I don't know, superficial layered. Like you still have to be proper. You shouldn't show weakness. And if you show weakness, it was just part of the life and duty and privilege that you were born into. That's like really sad. And when Oprah was like, you, Prince Harry, born into privilege, like, what did you think about that? Like, do you find that being Prince Harry had down?
I think it's kind of dumb to assume that he doesn't go through anything because he's a prince. You know what I mean? Like, think about all the stuff that he's had to do because he's a prince. You know, like maybe he just wanted to like live and be an artist. You know what I mean? Type of thing. But that wouldn't look good, for example. And I think like just because you have privilege doesn't mean that you don't go through shit. You know what I mean? I just feel like the assumption that just because he was born into a royal family, I mean, there are crazy expectations for him. And I'm sure, and the fact that they don't even acknowledge mental health issues, you know what I mean? Just goes to show just how like backwards it is. Just because you have a lot of money and he doesn't seem to have power. His grandmother has power. You know what I mean? He doesn't make any decisions. And he said that, you know, it's just like, it's up to the institution. Like he can't even give his son his title back. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's just like.
He can't even keep his title.
No.
And he couldn't keep.
And he was born into it.
Yeah. And like he couldn't keep his security. He couldn't keep. And apparently he doesn't have money either. Like when they cut him off.
They cut him off.
Like, so he doesn't have a credit card? He doesn't have like a debit card? I'm like, that's really a thing for me that I was like, well, damn, like he has connections. He has that kind of assumed privilege and like money. But like once you get cut off in that sense, you have nothing except for crazy. What people thought what you have. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but in that way, it's almost cult-like. It's like you either do this or you're done. You know, and it's very fear-based, I find.
I think it is very much fear-based. Like, because imagine if he was still in the royal family and going against the institution that manages his family, they could definitely kick him out and definitely write horrible press about him.
Yeah.
And then cut him off without him being
no security. I mean, they said something about how the death threats that Meghan got were so bad. And she had no security. It's like they wanted her to be killed. Type of thing, you know? Like, that's crazy.
That's crazy. And they were even saying like, oh, when they were going to cut off her funding, like for security, and that, oh, they didn't know if she should go back to acting. I'm like, really? The girl gave up her whole life to like serve the queen and like just whatever you guys are doing, and then you want her to go back to America and act. And I remember those headlines of like, saying like, oh, Meghan wants to act again, and I was like, is it she wants to act again? But no, it was like she had to.
The fact that they like flipped everything, like she made Kate Middleton cry. It's like, I was like, my God, what the? And she was the one who cried.
I was so confused.
What the hell? And you know, it really made me think about everything that you hear. I mean, everything should be taken with a grain of salt, right? And those tabloids are definitely all fake, but they create the narrative. They create everything.
First of all, she was going through a lot of stuff. Like
her dad wasn't coming to the wedding.
Yeah. And I think there was a lot of scandals of that. Like the press was saying like her dad was
straight out of Compton and all this stuff like that. And
no, she was straight out of Compton, but her dad is white, and I think he's maybe not like the most educated, and he's like not from a great background either. And but like, what did Kate Middleton like
say
like about the Flower Girls dress? What do you think that could be?
I feel like it probably was just something just like I don't know. I don't know if it had anything to do with like her like saying something about her dad or like her being lower class, or I don't know. Or maybe it was just like Meghan's just like, this is like the least important. This is the least important thing in my mind right now. You know what I mean? Or, you know?
Maybe. But I would say that like when they said, you know, like to not reveal names, and like you said, you wanted like name drops, or like that she made it clear that like she and Kate, they apologized for like with each other and they like made up. I think that they like stuck to their word, and I kind of appreciate that as just human decency. Like,
yeah. I mean, I didn't want Meghan to trash anyone. That's not what I wanted. I just wanted to like, I wanted to know like the explicit racism that she had dealt with. You know what I mean? Like, what were you going through that made you almost commit suicide? Was it like what's going on?
I guess she said it, but in the less direct way, because she was saying they were not protecting her with the press. They were not going to actually protect her either. And then as viewers, we're supposed to kind of connect it. And you're like, yeah, your son is going to be a quarter black. Is it a quarter?
No, an eight. No, she's half, so she would be a quarter. Ugh, I hate that shit.
Math. But like,
I think it'd be a quarter.
Because of that, he would not be entitled to a title that entitles him to protection, that's crazy. Like, how would you say to not protect a kid?
I don't know. I guess I don't relate to that fear because, you know, I'm just a pleb. But like, why not just hire your own security?
Because they don't have the funding.
But they hadn't cut off the funding yet.
But they were gonna. While the baby was inside of her. Imagine how stressed you would be. Yeah, I
felt like they were trying to make her miscarry, because she had a miscarriage the second time she got pregnant because she was so stressed out. So I felt like they were trying to, that's why they said something about the color of the baby's skin, just the stress, you know, like something like no one has control over. Like you have no choice over how your baby's skin will look, and that's a pressure you're putting on a pregnant woman.
Yeah,
like what?
That's crazy. That honestly, for me, it's like it really reminds me of like ancient, like what is it, like ancient dramas when you're like trying to induce a miscarriage with like gossip and like stress her out, trip her down the stairs, you know, like. And that's the same thing with like Chinese drama too. It's like you spread rumors so that the king will execute your ass, or like that's how court dramas are. And like, have you not watched these? Like, it's like
I only watch like Pride and Prejudice. I don't watch the ones that go like higher than
yeah. If you ever watch like Chinese dramas, it'll like very much you'll see it's like because the court is run a lot by women. Women are always like in the court.
面对一切心计、谋算、狠毒及接连残杀。最终，她成功登上皇后之位。
So there's like a lot of like backstabbing and like shit talking, and I think that's what they were trying to do, because in China it's also like passive aggressive too. You don't really like say what you want to say, so I can just kind of relate to her experiencing that. Like she's confronting like maybe like a person like I need help, and the person's like I understand you, but I can't provide help, but like you could.
and then they like. Then that person goes and says like, hey, she's having a mental breakdown, put this in the tabloids, you know?
Yeah. So that kind of like crazy. Ugh.
Piggybacking off of the topic of Meghan going to like talk to people and Harry trying to go to talk to people, there's that, they spoke about something about like this invisible contract between the family, the institution, and the tabloids. And that was something that I thought was very interesting, because we know in the States that a lot of the richer people here have ties to the media and friends and things like that.
But in the States, every year they also have the press party. What is it called? The press, where they host it in
journalist
the White House.
Party? Yeah, or something like that.
It's like it's like hosted. I don't know, but like a few years, like it's been like comedians that's been hosting it. But I think it's kind of the same deal.
Yes, but I feel like it's almost like what is it, damage control to another level. It's like with the royal family, it's the ability to either create drama or stop drama from happening. You know what I mean? Like they can, like, I'm sure there's like one person talking to the head writer or head editor, and it's just like the editor's like, hey, do you want this story to go out? Yes or no? You know what I mean? And that's why they were able to trash Meghan's what's it called? Meghan's reputation. And I think it was very deliberate what happened to Meghan with like the press and all that stuff, because there were so many articles that were mirrored between Meghan and Kate. Like, it's weird. It's almost either it's very deliberate or they're just like, they're really dumb. I don't know what
you know, like the states, like they really, well, I guess the press in general, they really are able to like amp up people's fears or like their insecurities. So like they use Meghan to really amp up the racism of the country. Like that really shined through, which is crazy. Yeah, for me, that invisible contract also made me feel more like sorry in a way. Yeah, like that. I'm like, okay, so like the royal family, they are a bit trapped under the press, under the institution.
Yeah.
You know?
I don't know. I mean, to a certain extent, do people know that these things are lies? I guess we didn't know. I mean, the avocado article, obviously, but like I wouldn't know if like I guess it just builds, you know what I mean? It's a little thing like the avocado thing, or it's like she's holding her baby bump, and then, you know, like they just kind of like make a foundation of her being this bad person, so then you believe that she would make Kate Middleton cry. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it is.
It's like a build-up.
It is like a mental association, because if you even don't read like the whole article, you'll read the headline. Oh, Meghan did this in like a bad way. You'll automatically kind of oh yeah, she'll do that. Like you said, like it just associates her with like bad behaviors, quote unquote.
And there's also the fact that there's already this like aggressiveness tied to Black women. So there's like, that's why they said like, oh, is it pride that she's holding her baby? You know, like creating this, adding to this negative stereotype of Black women. Yeah. And, you know, people are so unaware of it.
Yeah, pride because what? It's like a royal baby and he's white, even more white.
Exactly. It's like, you know, like there are levels to this shit that I wish they had talked about in that interview, because I think the interview, if it had more historical context, like this is what, I mean, I don't think it should be the job of because Oprah's not a journalist, but no one's going to write articles about like, hey, this is what happens to Black women in the media. They're constantly demonized, and you're not saved even if you're almost white passing. You know what I mean? You're still Black at the end of the day, type of thing. So yeah. We already touched a bit on it, but I feel like if Meghan or Harry had dated a woman who was darker skinned and maybe had different features, I feel like she would have dealt with so much more racism, like overt, like,
oh my god.
Didn't they say something about Archie being a monkey in like they didn't say it in this.
I think they put
there
a
was
picture.
An article.
Picture.
But there was stuff like that, you know what I mean? Like she would have dealt with like Michelle Obama, the type of like they made her look like a man, they like compared her to a monkey, like really awful shit. And so I think if like, not to say like she didn't deal with like anything harsh, but she didn't deal with like, I don't know.
What could have been even worse, you think? But I think that's the thing with her, because in the beginning, like she eased into it, and then she assumed that it was gonna be okay. But no. But so you know what I mean? Versus like what would have been like a blog would have been like
just like nah.
And then like they gotta decide whether they're gonna break up or whether he's gonna leave like straight away. Versus like, okay, you're welcome in, and then the press really like turns on you, and it's like, like that's a bad thing. like you can't predict that, I guess.
Get out. Sorry, man. Get out!
She kept saying like she was very aware of like women speaking up and different things like that, but she never really she called herself a POC woman. But she never said, I feel like she never stated like I'm Black, and this happened to me in the interview. And I feel like she dealt with a lot of privilege in the United States because a lot of Black women who are fair or mixed tend to get a lot more acting roles, or, you know, they're not seen as Black. There's like more of an appeal to the white side of her. Like I dealt with that. Like people thought I was mixed and stopped talking to me when I told them that I was full Black. So it exists. You know what I mean?
Okay. I think that's what she was saying. She was saying like that she assumed that it was kind of like the celebrities in LA, like but it wasn't. So I'm guessing coming from her background, like you said, she was like a light-skinned Black woman actress. I guess she wasn't even that successful yet. Oh wait, she was getting successful. So she assumed that this privilege would kind of carry overseas.
Yeah.
And
no. And I feel, and I don't want to say like her Black experience is different, but she definitely didn't deal. I mean, if I were to date a white guy, like I would be extremely fearful of ever meeting his family. Maybe not his parents, but the extended family. Hell yeah, you don't know what's happening over there. So I feel like Meghan, I don't know, I feel like she didn't have this self-awareness of like her background. You know what I mean? Because
but you know what? The thing is, I think also in her mind, these are very educated people. Like Harry is educated, because let's say so it's because usually in the Americans' point of view, it's like you get racism when it's like less educated people, less exposed to people. But when you're a celebrity, that kind of trumps it, because if like a racist person still meets like, I don't know, like who's really famous and who's Black, like
exactly. I mean, I think so. I've been seeing a lot of things, but there's this attempt at associating racism with like uneducated lower class people, but a lot of it, and that stems from the higher class people that are living in their like fenced in like what's it called, fenced in communities, you know what I mean, who do not want Black people in the suburbs. That was like a thing that was happening with like the white educated women.
Clubs. They don't want them in the
and the way that they're able, because they're able to communicate their racism differently, you know what I mean, with their power and privilege.
They don't have to say verbally.
Exactly. It's just like, oh, do you live in this town? Oh, I've never seen you before. Do you live in this apartment? You know, like it's different things like that makes the Black person question, like, is this person being racist, or are they really thinking? So I feel like Meghan, coming from the States,
as a celebrity,
being an actress, as a celebrity, whose face is like, you know, her face type of thing, and she's very white passing. I think she said she was naive, but I don't think she was naive. I don't think she knew she was naive about her own place as a mixed Black woman. You know what I mean?
I see. Now she does, I'm saying. Like,
yeah.
And even like I think it was a big awakening for her to seeing like her child being treated that way also. Yeah. Especially even if he was born into a royal family.
I mean, they had like things up to like 1/16th Black person, you know, different privileges that they could have. And it's just like, yo, these people, like, they're so worried about like mixing and Black people coming in, like the blood. It's just, you're so preoccupied, and we're the ones with the problem. Okay.
Yeah, that's what they were saying also in the interviews. They're saying like, it's just the Commonwealth countries, and how that was 70% like people of color, and how you can see that the institution and the royal family really don't stick up for them.
No.
Really sad that it's got to this point, but I've got to do something.
I was going to say, at least Harry stuck up for Meghan, And yeah,
I know.
lucky.
They were so cute. Like honestly, like
I
Harry and
know.
at
Like
least
the way they're
like, that
holding
was,
each other's hands, especially when he was talking about his mom and they were just like holding us, just the support.
It's like, yeah, I know. Like when he came in, he thought like you see his nervousness. Like he was like playing with his like ring finger, and like once she finally like held his hand, they were like a bit more like stable together. I was like,
It's such a good.
I know, because I'm guessing like his whole life he had to like pretend. You know, like even since his mom passing, like that one video image of his brother kind of patting him in the back. That was the most support, the most emotion that they could show during her wedding.
There's no royal
sorry,
therapist.
her funeral.
No royal therapist. No royal psychologist.
I don't know, but
2021, mental health is the vibe. Like, let's get on it.
I think he is getting therapy now, but I have no idea if they were. Because wouldn't that be like another security like issue?
I guess.
Oh my God.
I mean, who can you talk to?
About the problems of being a royal?
Yeah. I mean, I get, yeah. You know what I mean?
Who would
like,
understand?
And no, like,
I don't know.
I guess you have to go, you know, like how, you know, like if you start thinking about like a therapist going to a therapist and it goes up the chain, they would have to be at the top of, like, that therapist is the one who takes care of the royals. I don't know who they are, but like that top, is it Freud? Yeah. I don't know.
It's for spirit. They have to like summon him. Oh my God. I know. Anyways, but honestly, I feel good that they're kind of free from that world.
Yeah.
And they're so cute together.
With their chickens.
And they're two babies.
Archie Chicken.
Yeah.
So funny. Oh, so freaking cute. That's all I want.
I know, when they were like running down the beach with the little baby.
And then Harry's like, I didn't get to ride a bike with my, and I was just like, ah.
I know, he couldn't like freely.
Harry, no.
And when they were like showing like Diana's picture with him, like little like redhead.
It was so heartbreaking.
So I honestly felt that he, like Meghan was like the first woman he really like trust with like his whole feelings and like just them being together. I'm like,
you know, my mom, side note, when I went to study abroad in England, my mom was like, find Prince Harry, he likes black women. I was like,
what could have been? But then you would have been like attacked.
I would have been done.
Attacked.
Yeah.
We didn't even like address like her talk about like suicide, but that's just like too much. Like
she didn't really bring it up. She just talked about how like the feelings were overwhelming, but
I think Oprah had to clarify it. Oprah was like, you were feeling suicidal. It was not feeling, she was saying it was like,
she was like contemplating, and she told Harry like she couldn't be alone.
Oh my God,
that was
crazy. And imagine being just a partner, hearing that news, even that's like traumatizing, and they had to like be presentable. Oh my God, right after.
Go home, go and smile. And she was talking about like crying and like cleaning it up. I don't know how she was able to clean it up. My eyes would be poofy red. Like, the fuck? Did she have like cold spoons in her bag? I don't know. But as soon as I like cry, like my eyes go.
Oh my God, yeah. So, anyways, final thoughts.
I love Harry. He's so cute, and I love Meghan, and I love their relationship. I'm really sad that they had to, you know, like it ended. That it's happening this way, you know, for them to be together. But I think they're happy, and that's all that really matters, you know. And what are your final thoughts?
I felt like it was like, because we saw like the beginning of them, and then that was a bit more public, like their courtship, and we were like, oh my God, it's so cute. And then when they were married, it was like silence, like nothing. And then I felt like they found their freedom, even though, like you said, it was like a horrible journey. But I stand them, I ship them, I everything them. That's it. People, go watch it and then let us know what you think.
Yes.
Appreciate Oprah's interview skills.
And what questions would you have asked? And yeah, overall thoughts.
Okay, thank you. Like and subscribe. See you next week.
Yes.
Okay, bye.